today I want to talk to you about creating a portfolio of writing. So in order to be a professional writer, you need to spend a lot of time writing. You have to have a portfolio of stories, of novels, of articles, of whatever it is that you're writing to share with the world, to share with publication. All artists, whether they are painters, sculptors, writers, musicians, they all have a collection of what it is that they are sharing, of what they're creating for their audience. And as writers, we need to do that as well. So in order to be a professional writer, you have to write a lot. So we're going to talk today about creating your portfolio of writing, of your sample writings, so that you have it available when a publisher or someone asks to see your work. Let's talk about that today.
You have a story to tell, but you don't know where to start. Let me show you how to free your story. I teach you how to write and how to dig deep in your soul to release your story and make a difference in the world.
I'm very excited to welcome you to my YouTube channel. Thank you for being here. I'm Julia Monte. I'm the women's fiction author, and as you know, I'm here to offer you my tips, my suggestions on how to improve your writing, how to become a professional writer, and how to finally get your stories written. So let's talk today about the collection of material, of stories that you're going to have to share with your audience. The first reason that you want to have a portfolio of writing, of your samples, is because this creates tangible proof of your writing abilities. Think of this scenario. You decide that you're going to go to a writer's conference. At this conference, there's other writers, there's agents, there are editors that work at various publishing houses, and you sit down with one, maybe you pitch a story, and that editor says, well, that's great, that sounds wonderful. Can you send me a sample of your writing, either that story or other stories? So typically, if you pitch a specific story, what's going to happen is the editor is going to ask you to see a sample of that story. However, if you are a journalist or you write a different type of thing, they may just ask you for samples of your work, and you want to have something to show. So what you don't want to do is to have to scramble for, let's see, what do I show? What do I share with this editor? You want to have your samples. You want to have your best writing that you can say, well, this is a short story that I wrote. This is an article that I wrote. This is a sample of a chapter in one of my novels. Portfolio of your sample writing shows that you're a professional, that you are constantly writing, that you are submitting your work for publication. So if your portfolio has published works, that's great. If you don't have that, that's still okay, as long as you have polished work that you can show to whoever wants to see what you are capable of writing. Editors, agents, clients, if somebody's hiring you to write for them, it might be to write for their social media platforms. Again, depending on the type of writer, I don't know what type of writer you are. Usually I speak with novelists, but it goes for all writers. These people, these professionals are there to look at your work and determine whether you're a good fit for them. They need to look at your abilities to write, and you want to make a strong first impression when they look at your work or the work that you submit to them, so that they can make the determination of whether they want to offer you a contract or have you write for them. The second reason that you want to have a portfolio of writing is that it's more for you, so that you can showcase your growth as a writer. You can see the patterns in your own writing over time. As you write more and more stories, as you write more novels, you will start to see where your strengths lie. You'll start to understand and even admit to yourself, this is where I am unique. This is where my strength is. And you'll start to see yourself as the valuable writer that you are. So for me, for example, one of the things that I noticed over time after writing novel after novel is that my strength is in writing emotional stories, and also pretty heavy in dialogue, and most novels are pretty heavy in dialogue, but that was my strength, was in writing emotionally rich novels that contain a lot of dialogue, a lot of interaction between characters. And this allowed me to realize that I was ready to move from writing romances to writing women's fictions that tend to be more emotionally rich than a romance. Of course, a romance has a lot of emotion as well, but women's fiction is a larger book, and usually there are more interactions between different characters. So by writing multiple novels, by having this collection of my work, of actually evaluating my work and looking at it and seeing my growth over time, I was able to make a career decision on what I wanted to do next. And the third reason is that it really helps to boost your confidence as a writer. Opening up your computer and seeing that there are multiple files of stories that you've written over the years reminds you that, hey, I really am a writer. A lot of times we have that fear, that self-doubt where we're questioning ourselves, am I really a writer? And having a collection of writing, maybe published writings, maybe not published writings, but having work that we have created tells us that yes, I am writing. I am a writer. I've written many, many stories. I've written many articles. I've written many interesting blog posts. And this collection proves that I am a writer and that I am growing. You'll start to see over time that pieces that you wrote years ago that you struggled with now come much easier. Certain techniques or certain skills that were difficult for you years ago now are much, much easier, and you can see it in your work that it flows better, that you have this physical, visual proof that you are a professional writer, that you are writing. And again, publication is wonderful if you have published works, but it's not crucial, right? It's not the only evidence of you being a good writer or of you being a writer, period. Just writing and having the evidence of written work shows you that yes, I am progressing and I am a writer. So you do need a portfolio of your work, of your art. So how do you do this? How do we build a portfolio of our writing? Well, the first thing is that it does take time, right? Because you're not going to build a portfolio overnight. You're not going to, from today to the next week, have 50 different things. Maybe you're writing a bunch of short stories or articles and you can get all those done, but that doesn't really show your growth over time. So a portfolio takes time. You create a story, then you create another story, then you've revised it multiple times, and then write another one, and then over time you're building this huge collection of all your work. So in order to do this, then the first thing that you want to do to build your portfolio is to write daily. So you want to write all the time. These early drafts are not going to be your best, and that's okay, right? We want to start with something. So we write daily, we edit, we rewrite it again, we rewrite it again, but you have these files of your writing, where you're writing daily, where you're contributing and growing and consistently adding to the collection of your work. Now, in order to do that, you're going to create a routine, right? So every day I'm going to write at a certain time so that I'm writing daily. And again, it doesn't have to be a lot. If you don't have a lot of time, that's okay. But you do want to have some type of routine where you're writing every day, just like anything else that you do. You eat every day, you exercise every day, and you write every day. The second thing you want to do is choose your area of focus. What is it that you are going to write? Are you intending to be a freelance journalist? Are you intending to be a novelist, a short story writer, a poet, a blog writer, a business writer? What type of writer do you want to be? You want to choose your focus because your portfolio should have the type of writing, obviously, that you want to eventually share with the public or sell. Now, it doesn't have to be only one thing. So I could have, for example, in my portfolio, some romance example and romance novels. I could have some women's fiction. I could have some blog articles, since I'm also a blogger. I could have business writing, but that isn't really what I do. So I probably wouldn't have that. Have I written business documents? Yes, but I probably wouldn't have it in my portfolio unless I plan to get a job at a business where I'm going to have to show that type of writing. So choose your area of focus, whatever it is that you want to write, and have that in your portfolio. Number three, the next thing you're going to do is organize your pieces, organize your art, right? So an artist paints a lot of things, has a lot of art, but not everything is part of the portfolio. Only the best pieces are. So maybe you've started writing 5 years ago and you have samples of things from back then. That's fine, but you're probably not going to include something that you wrote 5 years ago unless it was really wonderful, unless it won a prize, unless there's a reason to include it in your portfolio. You want to have your best pieces. They may be your most recent pieces, but not necessarily. You may have something that you wrote 5 years ago, 3 years ago, that was really great, but you want to choose your pieces carefully. What is it that is going to showcase your writing? Maybe your ability to create characters, maybe your ability to show conflict. Whatever that piece is really good at. That's so you might have different pieces. One may be a really great one for characterization. Another one may be really great for conflict and showing the development of conflict. Another one may be really great at setting, right? So whatever it is, you want to have a collection of different things with your main focus, but different that shows different skills and your different abilities to create writing. Number 4 is to make your portfolio digital and available. So mostly, probably, your work is going to be digital. I don't think very many people handwrite their novels anymore, their stories. There might be, yeah, that might be you. But if that's the case, you want to write them, and you want to create a digital file of your work. And the reason that you want to do that, and what I'm going to suggest too, well, the reason is obviously, right, that it's a lot easier to share a digital a digital file or digital portfolio. But what I was going to say is you want to have it available for the public to see. So do you have a website? You want to create a digital place for you to showcase your work. Now, for me, let's say, for example, I have my website. Now, my website obviously doesn't have my full novels on there, but it is a place where I showcase I do have my portfolio of work. People can go there and click on novels, and it'll show all my novels. And some authors might have a sample of it, might have a chapter you can go to, or might have just a link like to Amazon where somebody can go and read a few chapters of your work. So have a place, sites, platforms like Wix or WordPress, make it really easy to create your own website. So I do suggest that you have a website or you have a place online where you can showcase your work. And on that website or wherever it is that you post your digital work, make sure that you make it easy for people to contact you. So if they have questions about your writing, you wrote an amazing article, they want to interview you, they have a way to contact. And number 5 is to submit your work for publication. So professional writers submit their work for publication. And you want to do that. You want to take these best pieces that you've created and attempt to get them published. If your stories are published in literary magazines or blogs or other types of publications or traditional publishers, then what this does is it gives you more credibility. So it doesn't have to be published, but the more work you can get published, the more readers, editors, agents are going to see you as a professional, someone who is creating work that they're attempting to get published, that they are sharing with readers, that other people are interested enough to put money, give you money to create more, to write more. So try to publish your work as soon as you feel that it's ready for publication. If you've tried to publish some of your work and you haven't been successful at placing it anywhere, that's okay. You can definitely post sample chapters of your work on your website so that you're creating this digital portfolio where people can go and see your work. So in conclusion, a portfolio sounds fancy, but what am I saying? You need to write. You need to write over time. You need to have a collection. You need to know what your best pieces are, and you need to make it available to your readers. And another reason that I want you to think about this and decide to create a portfolio of your writing is that it will encourage you to write. Because if you have a goal, sometimes the goal is I'm going to write and I'm going to get published one day, right? That's too far off of a goal. But if your goal is I'm going to create a portfolio of my writing, and in order to create a portfolio of my writing, what I need to do is write. I need to have pieces that I'm always working on so that I can add it to my portfolios, so that I can sift through all this work and pull some out that I'm not happy with and add some new ones, that I can have various different stories that show my strength as a writer. So your goal is to create this portfolio, and it's going to take you the rest of your life, right? It's not like it's something that's going to be done tomorrow. You're always going to continue writing, and you're always going to have a better and better samples in your portfolio, but you need to start writing in order to create your portfolio. So your goal should be to build this collection, to make it better and better each time, to constantly grow and improve, and to have this wonderful book of samples of your work that you can share with the world. All right, thank you for being here, for supporting my channel. Please make sure that you do like and share this channel with other writers, that you subscribe to the channel and come back next week to see me again. Take care and have a great week.